Brian Grazer is here on the Rich Eisen Show, and I apologize. I blame Wikipedia. I shorted you some Oscar and Emmy nominations. 47 Oscar nominations, 228 Emmy nominations of your illustrious producing career, and the Dynasty, the New England Patriots, is dynamite, sir.
Wow,
Just
thank you so much.
Outstanding. I'm learning a lot. My son is 13 years old. He's a diehard Patriot fan. It's like a history lesson for him on all of this. How did you get involved in this?
Well, here's how it worked. I peripherally know something about football, having produced the movie and television show Friday Night Lights. But NFL was something that a world that I hadn't fully entered, other than just through my two boys. One boy loves the Dallas Cowboys. The other boy loves the Patriots. So I would find my way into rooting for those teams when they were playing. At the same time, in 2012, I knew Bob Kraft, got to know Bob Kraft, just as a friend. No business, no anything, just buddies.
Yep.
And he'd asked me for years, do I want to come to a game? Very flattered, very generous of him, but I just never went. And then eventually I went to, it had to be like 6 or 7 years later, I went to a Patriots game and was with Bob on the field, and then in the tunnel. They had just won, and I got into I was in the locker room. Belichick doesn't speak even when they win, really. It's quite stoic. Bob is great owner, polite. And what happened is immediately Tom Brady went into a prayer. And everyone got down on one knee, all of his brothers, all of his teammates, got down on one knee, and they prayed. And it was really moving to me that they all were unified in this prayer. And I felt like that was a competitive advantage by this team. That they not only had the skill and talent, but they also had a unifying brotherhood where they would live and die for each other. And I just felt like what Tom Brady was able to do was elevate their feelings and spirit in a transcendent way. And I just thought that really moved me. And I went again to another game. It brought me to tears the second time. And I just thought he was a tremendous leader. And I was moved by it. And then the book came out, Dynasty. Kraft brought it to my attention. I read it. And all of those things in conjunction with one another, the events in the locker room, et cetera, I said to Bob, I'd love to be able to produce this and turn it into a big 10-part docuseries. And he said, listen, if you really, if it's something you'll personally do and take responsibility for, I'll do it with you. And
so were you working in conjunction with Bob Kraft to get Brady sat down and Belichick sat down? And,
yes.
And I mean, the number of people, when folks see this documentary for the first time, I'm sure they'll have the same sensation I had. It's just, whoa, okay, you got everybody to sit down and talk.
Largely because of Bob Kraft.
Okay.
I'd known Roger Goodell for quite a while. And
you even got him sitting down, too.
We even got Roger Goodell
talking Spygate, which was something.
Very unusual.
Yeah.
But he was part of it and said, listen, all these events happened. Everybody wanted to tell the truth.
Okay.
And the truth, there was Spygate, there's Deflate, there's a lot of different things. It wasn't a straight up trajectory. And these games are like battle zones, and they're also quite unpredictable. And so I think that's what makes this series so engaging. You definitely learn about the NFL. You definitely learn about how hard it is to win. You definitely feel the pain of losing and the shame of embarrassment when certain events came to pass, as you brought up.
Yeah. And one of the most successful runs in the history of the NFL. And that's the part about it that you're talking about, the losing. I mean, what the part where where they lose the Super Bowl when they entered it undefeated.
I know.
It's gutting, and I was there.
You were?
Yeah, I was there. As a matter of fact, I paused the shot of Plexico Burress catching the touchdown because I was right in that end zone. I saw Deion Sanders there. He was hiding me. Damn it. If I'd known that shot would be one day, I'd be standing right there. But no, the reason why I bring it up is not to point that out, but to point out that that's the beauty of it in the sport is they're the winningest franchise over a 20-year period, and the losses are just as gutting for them as those wins were.
Sure, yes.
And it's so well done. It's really superbly told.
Well, thank you. A lot of it is due to the people also that we work together, the director, Matt Hamachek, and, of course, Justin Wilkes, who's my partner and is a superb documentary filmmaker. So, and always loved Ron Howard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that, him as well in a second. Brian Grazer here on the Rich Eisen Show. So technically you've worked with Tom Hanks and Tom Brady. You've got that,
and Tom Cruise.
And Tom Cruise, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not forget that Tom as well.
There's some Toms.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know. And so, all right, let's jump into your relationship with Ron Howard. Where did you first meet Ron Howard?
I met him on the Paramount lot weeks after I got in trouble.
Okay. Yeah.
I had this discipline at the time where I would make a point to meet a new person that was principally making a difference in the media business, movies or television, every single day. So I looked at my window. I was on the third floor of the director's building, right above Robert Evans, on the lot, and I saw Ron Howard. I thought, wow, there's Richie Cunningham right there. I'm going to yell out the window. I open my window. I yell out the window. I go, Ron Howard, like that, and start waving. Ron, very shy, ran from me, like ran around the soundstage, and I guess we went to his office. I called his office an hour later just to say, hey, I was the guy that yelled out at Ron, blah, blah, blah. I'm on the lot too. I'm a television producer on the lot. I of course know who Ron Howard is. Can we meet? That was to his assistant that worked with him for 35 years, Luisa Velez. So we meet that day in the afternoon, and he just had this aura about him that made me feel like not only is he a good person, but he will win at things he tries to do. He just had this glow and gravitational force where I thought he was going to win at things that he tried to do. And he was one to be a mainstream movie director, theatrical movie director, and ultimately became a master by winning a couple of Oscars.
No doubt about that. And was Night Shift the first?
Night Shift was our first movie, released in 1982.
We've had Henry Winkler here talking about it, and by the way, one of the sweetest people on planet Earth.
Yes, for sure.
And he was talking about how there was a process to cast Michael Keaton in that. What's your recollection? Of that?
I know what my recollection was. We just read everybody, and Michael Keaton came in unknown. He was relatively unknown, and he acted out the scenes in a way that we just said that has to be our guy, even though he's unknown. Many stars wanted to be in it, but we didn't. Ron and I just didn't think they were right. That we didn't. We just didn't have. We were not in alignment with the vision of these stars that said yes. But Michael Keaton was raw, very spontaneous, seemingly like just from the cuff. And I remember all the scenes he acted out, and then we put him with Henry Winkler, and it was a match.
Well, do you recall which one he nailed? Where you're like, that's the end of it?
The one he nailed was when he pretends he's shooting a basketball. He goes through the hoop. It's all everybody's cheering. It's in. This whole thing of shooting a basket through a hoop and some final match. That he invents. And then mayonnaise to tuna. He did this scene where he says, I've got an idea. You gotta feed mayonnaise to tuna. And that was, he had all these harebrained ideas.
Sold pretty much. Is there a screen test that you were involved with in your career that leaps out at you the most? that was
wow.
the win for you, whether it was discovering somebody or it made the movie or anything like that?
We had to do many, many screen tests on Tom Hanks because he also wasn't a star.
For this Splash?
This is for Splash.
Okay.
And so I think the screen test that he had to do with Daryl Hannah. So Tom had to do many screen tests for himself. Daryl Hannah, who I just felt like had to be the mermaid, had to do a film screen test, a video screen test, a screen test with Tom. The studio over and over said, and this was prior to, of course, Bob Iger getting there. It was the son-in-law of Walt Disney, Ron Miller. He said, there's no evidence that she can act at all. I go, you don't understand. She doesn't have to act. She just has to be fragile,
right.
and she has to be compelling.
Yes.
Which she was, because she had these eyes.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember Splash. I remember her.
So again, you were just pulled into her.
Yeah.
And
but you had to screen test Tom Hanks, though?
We had to screen test Tom Hanks, too. For both. Both of them we had to.
Is it true John Candy was hungover for the racquetball scene?
Yes.
For real?
For real. He stayed out with Jack Nicholson till like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then he went right to work. John Candy had a lot of endurance. I mean, really a lot of endurance. Before John Candy would say yes to that role, because he was the most famous of all of them.
No doubt.
He said, the only way I do this is if I meet Brian, meet me and see if there's chemistry. And so I went to a Mexican restaurant right across the street from Warner Brothers, and he had 17 small rum and cokes. But he drank them like just one after the next, and he just lit up and was fun, but it never got sloppy. He just kept going. The night with Nicholson, I think he overdid it. So he literally ran into the ball that hit him in the head.
That was real.
That was real. We anticipated we thought first we knew we'd have to shoot it in 2 shots, right?
Sure.
But we didn't have to, because the minute he hit that ball, it hit him right in the head. He couldn't get out of the way of it. So it was all one shot.
It's just fun.
Yeah. He's lucky it didn't hit him in the eye.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was a fun movie. I made a lot of movies that were fun for me, actually. Yeah.
Name me another one.
I really loved making American Gangster, just because I liked that world. I loved that era, and I like gangster movies with Ridley Scott, Russell Crowe, and Denzel Washington. I had a lot of fun producing Blue Crush on the North Shore of Oahu. In fact, the day I got there, I bought a house on the North Shore because I loved it so much. And A Beautiful Mind was such a great result. I learned a lot from Apollo 13. I still do some of the lessons because we set up an astronaut training school for Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton, and Gary Sinise. And they taught us a lot of practical things. Take naps every day. And I think Tom Hanks still takes a nap every day. I know I do. After lunch, 15, 20 minutes max. So we do things. We learned a lot that we took later in life.
Well, it's funny. We've had both Kevin Bacon and Gary Sinise here on this show talking about going through their training for Apollo 13.
Oh, my God.
Neither of them mentioned a nap. They both talked about vomiting. That they did.
Well, they did. They vomited, yeah.
That's what they talked about more than the rigorous nature of their training for that movie. They talked about
because in order to achieve, I'm sure they told you, in order to achieve zero gravity, you get about 27 seconds of zero gravity per parabolus. Now, you have to do 50 parabolas because they're doing science experiments at the back of the plane.
Right.
So they won't allow you to regulate how many you do. You must do 50, I think, or 100. And these guys were trapped on this jet, this rocket, doing that, a jet rather. And because all you were able to capture is 17 seconds of the 27 seconds. So, yeah, everybody got sick.
I mean, that's a remote drop movie for me. Doesn't matter where I am, what I have to do. if I see Apollo 13 come on, I got to drop the remote. It is an outstanding, beautiful, well-crafted, acted, produced, obviously, movie.
Well,
it's
thank
awesome,
you.
Brian.
Thank
Grazer.
you.
It really is.
Ron did an amazing job. He created the architecture that gave you the narrative architecture that got you so involved and cut those cutaways. I think he kind of came up with a new paradigm of how to create suspense in an environment that is so singular like that.
There's one television show that I've seen of yours. Well, I've seen many, but one television show where I would call a friend of mine, a buddy of mine, at the end and say, "Are you crying?" And he'd say, "Yeah, I'm crying." "Are you crying?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's Friday Night Lights.
Oh, wow.
Friday
Thank
Night
you.
Lights. We would call each other up and just like sheepishly admit we're crying over this stuff. And the movie is fantastic. I mean, the movie is wonderful. The television show is one of the greatest TV shows of all. It gutted me that they stopped making it.
Wow.
I mean, what happened on that show?
It
do you
didn't
think?
get high enough ratings for a network television show. Had it been today and on a streamer, it would have lasted forever.
I think so too.
I mean, it birthed a lot of Taylor Kitsch, Michael B. Jordan. It birthed a lot of great actors. And but more importantly, it was really involving, as you point out. I love that it spoke to you like that.
It did.
And it speaks to kids still today. They like that internal drama of what it's, just of what it's the loneliness that you face as a kid growing up and being in high school and the cliff you fall off if you're on the top of it.
Yes.
Like Booby Miles, and you're winning at everything and you get injured and all of a sudden you're no longer a rock star at school. And it just it's a lot of those things.
And, to me, the beauty of that was the relationship between coach and wife, coach and daughter.
Yeah.
Those were the relationships of that show that was kind of the moral center, the rock of Friday Night Lights. How did you cast the role of your coach? He's a dynamite actor.
Well, honestly, look, I love him. A lot of it is Peter Berg, who directed the pilot.
Yes.
Who's a big sports guy. I don't know if he's been on your show.
Oh, yes, multiple times.
Yeah, he's tremendous. He's really gifted. I'm going to make another movie with him right now, in fact. A lot of it was him. Kyle Chandler was just perfect.
Yeah.
Women liked him and men wanted to be him.
That's a great one. Yeah. I got Brian Grazer here on the Rich Eisen Show talking about your illustrious, amazing career. So I guess so. The screen test you said that stands out is the one with Tom Hanks. What other movies of yours are you genuinely pleased about when you look at the trophies in the case or the movies, or the posters on the wall or anything like that?
Well, there's certain people I just loved working with, where I was in awe. I always love working with Tom Hanks. He's a professional and he always over delivers. I definitely like working with Eddie Murphy. I've made 6 movies with him. He's kind of a savant genius. He reads the script one time and 6 months later, he just is able to act it without ever revisiting the script because he's processed it.
You made movies with Arnie, who's been sitting here.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, yes. And I'm going to expect to make another one about his miniature donkey and pony. It's called Whiskey and Lulu. And so
is this an animated?
No, it's a feature movie with Whiskey and Lulu. Because Arnold, if you go to Arnold's house, he's feeding these 2 pets out of his mouth. I mean, like literally, this guy that has wanted everything, like literally everything.
Yes.
And very, muscular man stuff. And of course, Governor, and now he's like living with Whiskey and Lulu. I mean, it's like he's been able to shed himself of all the bullshit.
Yes,
just said, screw this. These guys don't talk back. They just love me,
Yeah.
But he'd be better to talk about it than I. Those are his animals. He makes the oatmeal cookies for them. He makes he makes cooks for them. He has the birthday parties where he puts on a birthday hat, has a little birthday for Lulu. You know, that's the game.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, I could go
And
on.
he's really fun. He's really extremely talented, works very hard, and he's fun to be with. He's playful.
Yeah, I fully agree. When he came here, he refused to sit in the chair in which you're sitting. He called it a baby chair, and he went over to my colleague Chris Brockman, took his chair, and removed the chair. He's the only individual who's ever rearranged furniture while appearing on this show.
Oh my God,
he's
that's
never.
funny.
It was truly great. All right, before I let you go, a couple other questions. Did you ever get concerned about during the making of 24? Brian Grazer, that Jack Bauer never had to go to the bathroom, never had a meal, and always had cell reception. Did that ever strike you in any way, shape, or form?
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. He never does any of those things.
So there was never a scene where he's like, he's chasing the bad guy, you know, the nuclear bomb's
Never
going
has to
off.
go to the bathroom, never gets tired.
That's right.
Gets punched, gets back up. He's very durable. He can do it all.
Yeah.
I plan on doing something else with
Kiefer?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, he's tremendous.
And then there's one last show
Yes.
that you were a part of that unfortunately did not last very long. It was on TNT. It was an outstanding show, if I may say so myself, because it was my one lone foray
I figured, yes.
into reality television game hosting called The Great Escape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good show,
I
actually.
thought so, too.
A great title, good show.
Yeah, great host, if you don't mind me saying.
Outstanding performance.
Thank you so much.
I mean, we should have started with that.
There I am, looking very mysterious in
yeah.
Alcatraz prison.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Definitely curious about you right there.
That's a great shot.
What does he think? What's Rich thinking?
You know what I'm
moment?
thinking? I'm thinking, when am I going to sleep? It was 4 a.m. when I took this photograph in Alcatraz prison.
Wow, you
But
look sharp, though.
Thank you.
You look good.
I still have the coat, which is great. Yeah, I wished I was. It was an incredible show. We went to so many different places.
It was too good to air.
That was
the problem. Other competitors, everybody, we got calls. Don't air this. It's too good. It makes us look bad.
I thought I was going to go on forever, but
Yeah.
listen, and I could with you, and I appreciate you coming in here and recounting your history, your filmography. We barely scratched the surface. I cannot recommend your documentary on the Patriots enough. It is amazing. It is
Thank you.
stupendous, and I can't wait to see how you tell the rest of this story.
You haven't gotten to the end.
Well, I mean, they haven't released it yet.
Oh, okay, got it.
I mean, I'm just like everyone else.
So you
I'm watching
didn't,
two every
say
Friday night.
To my office or somebody, hey, give me the rest of the, you didn't
I'll
do
take them.
You don't play that game.
I kind of know how the story ends.
No, but
you know
it's
what I mean?
really great to watch.
Right. Is there anything you want to preview? Brady
No.
Brady gets really emotional, I imagine, towards the end of it when it's
You
all
have
over.
to see it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got everything. It's got everything you're going to want to see.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And stuff that I've never seen before, which is the beauty of this series. Thanks again for coming on. Anytime you have anything you want to come and promote, the chair is yours. Truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You bet. Brian Grazer is here. You can follow him on Instagram at Brian Grazer. The Dynasty, the New England Patriots, 2 episodes every single Friday night on Apple TV, which you can get right here on Roku. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.